Hello, it's Robin with Oxy-Dry, and today I'm doing 5 area rugs. This is the last one. This is the largest one. This is a wool, and I did one synthetic over there, and another wool one, 2 more wool ones over there. We're on the corner there a little bit, and this one is over here. And I'll show you my technique. I'm going to be applying the solution, which is Nanomax at 1 ounce per gallon, using the brush and scrub it in with this is a soft bristle brush. And then normally when I'm doing wool, this is what I typically would do. Not in every case, but almost always. And so here I go. And one thing that I just want to point out for those of you who aren't familiar with cleaning wool rugs is that the wool, which is, you can see this is a very thick rug. Wool is very absorbent. It will suck up a lot of moisture. And in fact, I actually just went and topped up my tank because I already used 2 gallons on the rugs I showed you before I got to this one. I used 2 gallons of solution. Now typically I could do a whole house with about 2 gallons, so there's not a lot much square feet here, but the wool will really absorb a lot of moisture. So I'm watching very carefully as I apply. You can see this little bit of weight there, and see I turned weight there. I'm not over wetting it. I just need to get it wet enough to clean. I don't want to soak the wool, and I certainly am not wanting to soak right through to the floor underneath, which, as you can see, I'm on a hardwood floor. And that just takes a little bit of practice and experience. All I need is to get the fibers wet enough to clean them. And so I'm just, you can see my hand there, my fingers are pulling the trigger. I find the brush really works very well on wool rugs. And it just gives the wool a really good scrub. This is, again, a soft bristle brush. I wouldn't do this with a stiff one by any means. But, and the reason that I'm using the rotary is because it cleans it really well without any issues at all. I've cleaned area rugs with my OP machine, and since most wool rugs will pill or will shed to some degree, when you put an OP machine on them, you'll get a tremendous amount of shedding because the vibrating back and forth action of the OP will tend to worry the yarn, and in my opinion, it's too aggressive on wool. Whereas the rotary, of course, is just doing a continuous pass on the yarn, and although there will be some degree of shedding most of the time, it's nothing like if you were using an OP machine. I remember years ago I did an area rug with my one of my OP machines, and the amount of loose fiber that came up onto the surface of that rug was scary. I thought I'd destroyed the rug. Quickly went and grabbed my vacuum and vacuumed it up, and it was okay, but that was the last time actually that I ever used the OP on a wool rug. That made me realize just how problematic that could be. And about a year later, I went back and did the same rug with my rotary, and there was a little bit of shedding, but very little. This rug is shedding a little bit, and the other ones I've done have shed a little bit, but you're always going to get some degree of shedding in most cases because Wool is a staple yarn. It's an animal hair, and it's made up of segments of the wool fiber. And there's always loose fiber in the rug. So you'll be pulling some out. That's very normal, nothing to be scared of. But I wouldn't clean a wool rug with an OP. I know lots of guys do, and that's fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I won't. But again, you typically would apply a more solution when doing wool, because it'll just suck that moisture right up. And there's nothing really to be scared about when cleaning wool rugs, as long as you use a wool safe product. Watch the pH. You want to be neutral or close to neutral as you can, and make sure that you're not using some kind of a bathtub chemistry concoction that somebody recommended to you off of YouTube, because I've seen guys actually recommend even using ammonia and peroxide on wool, and you absolutely don't do that. Especially, I mean, look at these are very high-end area rugs, and I'm in a house that's worth many millions of dollars. This house is probably, this must be at least a $10 million house. I mean, it's in one of the most expensive areas of Kelowna, right on the lake, as you can see, and yeah, this is just real high-end housing here. Actually, what's really weird is our house is a bungalow, a rancher, and it's a nice house. It's not a high-end house by any means. It's in a pretty average neighborhood. Across the road, there's a guy that's got this house. He's a young guy, and he, the last couple of years, 2 or 3 years, been doing lots of renovating and lots of hammering and sawing, and it's not a very big house. It's a 3-bedroom house. It's a single story, it's a flat level. It's a bungalow, and it's got a bit of property off to one side of it, sort of a triangle-shaped area, which isn't a very big area. And apparently the backyard is, he's fixed it up with a hot tub and a deck on the back there, and it's not a deep piece of property, like from the front to the back. It's more of a sort of running parallel to the road. It's right across the road from us. Anyway, I went on the market yesterday, and my wife looked it up, and he's asking just under $1 million for it. I was like, are you serious? But anyway, it'd be amazing if he gets that price for it, and of course, if he actually does, and I find that hard to believe that he would, but well, I guess that knocks the value of every house in the area up, I suppose. But anyway, not that really matters in the end, but anyway, now you can see I've switched over to a pad, and I'm using a 2-way. I generally prefer to use the 2-way on the wool area rugs. move a little easier. They don't have quite as much friction. Even the Ironman pads have a little more friction on the wool, and that's generally why I prefer to use the two-way. And as you will see when I finish here, they do absorb and transfer the soil out of the wool just fine anyway. So now you can see, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a lot of, especially in the traffic areas, you can see there's quite a few sprouts in this rug. This actually isn't a high-end rug as far as quality goes. I'm going to be moving a little faster because this carpet is shedding like crazy. Like some wools will do this, and others won't. Like the Persians, you won't see any shedding on a Persian rug normally. I mean, this wasn't a cheap rug, but it actually is a cheap rug as far as the quality goes. You can't tell that to people though. But you know, look at the yarns coming out here. This is just, it's you can just pull yarn right out of this rug. Move that over. When I post vacuum it, that'll, oops, clean that all up, of course. Okay. Now, one of the ways you can see, the coffee table was sitting right where I'm at right now, so there's very little yarn appearing there. So it's the yarn where the walking is happening that you're getting the breaking of the fiber and the excess of fibers popping out of the carpet. So I'm almost done, and then I'm going to be going in and vacuuming all the rugs post-vacuum, and I'm going to have to clean up around the edges too because I'm throwing quite a bit of fibers off the rugs as I go, which is normal for this type of rug. So I'll go over here. You can see the little bits of yarn here, and often people don't put a vacuum with a power head on their rugs, so when you come to clean them you get a lot of yarn because they've not been actually vacuuming them out very well for some time. So that's another factor to bear in mind. There you go. Get rid of that. Yeah, see, it's like living in a park. That's what all the houses are like in this area. Usually have a gate at the front, and of course there's a pool here somewhere, I guess. Multiple car garage. I think there's like 4 or 5 bays over there. And so that's it. I'm gonna continue on here and do the post vacuuming and cleaning up around the edges, and then I'll be done. So I'll let you go. Have a good day.